Hi, this video is to show you how to log in to MySQL server once you are already in the CS Linux system. And we will also show you how to do the first 3 steps of the tutorial 01, which is in the project notes number 1. So just a quick review. In the last video, we showed you if you have a computer at home, how can you log in and access remotely to the Wyvern server machine, which is a part of the CS Linux system. And you can do so in 3 different ways, depends on what kind of computer you have. If you have a Windows computer, then you use the PuTTY program, and this is how the PuTTY program look like. You type in the wyvern.cs.nepal.edu name of the Wyvern server. If you have a Linux computer, you would use the SSH and then your username at wyvern.cs.nepal.edu. And again, if similar, if you have a Mac machines, then you do the same thing. And then so whichever way it was, now we are in the CS step. Okay, so the next step is to log in into your MySQL account, and it's quite simple. All you need to do is to type MySQL /h localhost /p. Okay, so just type in. Let me just explain a little bit. So MySQL is the command to call the MySQL server, which is also a program, and -h is for host. And in this case, because we are already in the CS system at the Wyvern server machines, where we also run the MySQL server, that's why we have localhost. And then -p is for prompting for password. Okay, so right there you have to enter your password. Now remember about the rule of the password. Your initial password would be either S followed by your date of birth in the format of month, date, and year. If it didn't work, then try S, lowercase s, followed by the last 6 digits of your social security number. So once you enter the password, and if it went through, then you should see this. So now you are in MySQL server at your account. So next we're going to do the first 3 steps of tutorial number 1, which is explained also in the project note number 1. So the first command, SQL command that we learn is the command to create a new database. Okay, step 0. Now the format for that is that you type create space database space and then the name of your database, and then don't forget the semicolon. Now, however, unfortunately, because of the restriction in the CS system for security, they don't let you actually do this. Even me, I cannot create a new database. But if you install MySQL on your machine, then you can certainly practice this command. So again, you cannot do this at the MySQL server at CS system. So if we cannot create a new database, then how can we work with the database? Well, they create it for you. So each person can have only one database. The name of the database is whatever your username is, lower score DB. Okay, so to see what kind of databases you have in the system, we would do step number 1, okay, which use a command in SQL called show. Okay, and it's quite simple. Just type show space databases and semicolon. So you type that and enter, and here you see it said here that I have 3 things, and you could see my username is farm, so I have a database there. Now step number 2, if you want to work with a database, either to see what is in there, what is inside the database, which is supposed to be tables, or to edit something, to update something, to delete something, to add something, you have to use it. You have to use the command use. Okay, so you can think of use also kind of like key to open the database. So because we have only one database, we have no choice but just type in that name, okay, and enter. And when you see this means it's open. The database is now accessible for us. In the beginning, your database is empty, so obviously you want to create a new table. Okay, so what kind of table should we have, or what kind of data should we have? It depends on what you need. So you need to look at what they call business scenario. So in this case, just pretend that there's a small company that sell notebooks to school, and they need to put their data in a database, and they hire you to do that. Okay, so what you need to do, you need to talk to them to find out what kind of data they want to store and maintain. And they said they want to store the price of each kind of notebook, and also the dealer, the wholesaler who sell this notebook to them, to the company. Okay, and you may have some initial data. So let's say we come up with a table like this, which has 3 columns, right? And first we have to give a name for each column, and then each row you fill in with data. So what does that mean? This first row shows that there's an article or a notebook. It's called, the ID is 001, and the dealer is A, and the price is $3.45. Okay, and then we have another one, okay, which is the same item, exactly the same thing, but look now, the dealer is B, and the price is different, right? And so far we have here 7 rows. Okay, so now the question is, how can we create a table like this in our database using SQL? It takes 2 steps. First, you need to create an empty table which have the structure like what we want to have, 3 columns with this name and the data type to store this kind of information. Okay, so in this one, for the first column, you could see article, right? The name is article. Data type is integer 4, which means 4 digits. unsigned zero field, which means even if it's, let's say, just 4, instead of just writing 4, it would actually write 0004. Okay, and not null cannot be null, and so therefore it has the default value. If nothing is entered, it would fill with, it would just put 00. So similar, we have the second column, dealer. The data type is now char20. It means that the maximum number of characters you could have would be 20 characters. Okay, but if you check just one, then just display one. So it's not filled automatically with anything. And the third column is, the name is price, and the data type for that is double 16, 2. What does that mean? That means that you could have up to 16 digits and 2 digits after the dot, like this. Okay, so now that's semicolon, that end the first part, which would create an empty table. Now what if you want to fill in with this number? Okay, so then you have to do the second SQL command, which is also quite long. So let's have a look at what is inside. So the command is insert into, and then the name of the table, values, and the first record, what they call record or row, is 1A 3.45, because that's what we want to have here, right? So please pay attention that it is number. You can just put it in, but if it's strings or characters, you have to put them inside a pair of single quote. Alright, and since we have 7 rows, so if you count, you have 7 things here. Okay, 7 sets here. So now let's type them in, and you could see that this is, say, whenever it's a query, okay, query, okay, okay, so we have 2 queries and they're both successful.